Why do I need a testing strategy and how do I build one? In a nutshell, I need to know what to test and how to test it. Any given project usually has more to test than a single team can handle. A testing strategy helps to identify what to test, how to test it, in which order to test, and what to ignore. The question is, where do I start? I follow a 4-step process to build up a testing strategy. Step 1, information gathering. Step 2, segmentation. Step 3, scoping. And step 4, prioritization. I want to start with compiling a list of all the operations the system supports. This is the exhaustive method. It is not feasible in every situation and can lead to overload quite quickly. It is good to have the principle in mind though. I build my lists by inspecting user stories, product manuals, interviewing product owners, developers, anybody who knows something about the system. I also look for non-functional requirements. API calls must complete in less than 200 milliseconds. Page loads must complete in less than 900 milliseconds. The web app needs to support Chrome, Firefox, and Edge browsers. In an ideal world, all this is readily available. If it isn't, I jot it down. Form follows function here. It's more about the content than it is about the form. Choose any format that suits you and your team. The format I use most often is actor can or cannot do action. A user can register an account. An admin can create a project. An analyst cannot delete a project. At the end of this exercise, I have a pretty good description of the expected system behavior. I further expanded by applying some patterns to it. Standard security tests, unexpected input tests, load and stress tests, double dispatchments. I also derived tests from a technical system analysis. If you want to know more about this topic, let me know in the comments below. Now that my information gathering is complete, I need to bring some structure to it. I put all the operations and tests into segments. This makes the information more manageable because I can attack each segment individually. It also helps with workload distribution later on. Segmentation strategies I use are splitting the product into public and protected areas, splitting by user groups like admin, user, visitor, and then further break down by feature areas like community, newsfeed, projects. I try to keep the segments hierarchical. If that doesn't work, I try to split them to restore hierarchy. If that doesn't work either, I choose the option that induces the least amount of pain. I like to have user groups as my top-level segments. It aligns nicely with workflow thinking since workflows are usually performed by a single user. For me, this is more natural than attacking a single concept like projects from all different angles. After I identified all the single-actor workflows, I turn to the multi-user workflows. For example, an admin invites a user and the user then takes the invite to sign up for an account. Once I'm done with this process, I have a segmented list of operations and tests. If you use the exhaustive method and noted down every possible operation and standard test, you most likely end up with more than you or your team can handle. I yet have to find a team that has enough resources, people, money, time to test everything. If I can't test everything, I need to triage. So I look for things that I don't want to test. These might be things that happen in external systems. The managing of email templates is probably done using tooling of an external service provider. In an enterprise application, user accounts might be managed in an external IAM. I might add sanity checks for these external systems, but I certainly don't want to test an email editor I just bought. Experimental features or feature previews might be too unstable to justify full formal testing efforts. Some basic smoke tests might be enough for them. The last area of features I look for are obsolete or legacy features. If these are isolated in terms of code and usage, if they aren't developed any further or are even scheduled for decommission, then it might be possible to exclude them from the testing regimen. Okay, now that I have my scoped list, I need to prioritize. I use 4 levels of priorities: critical, urgent, normal, and low. Critical tests must pass. No pass, no release. Urgent tests should pass. If they don't pass, there better be a pretty good reason to ignore them. Failing urgent tests are usually hotfixed first thing after rollout. Normal tests should pass too. If they don't pass, they get fixed right after the urgent tests. Normal tests make for the vast majority of tests in most systems. Last and least are the low priority tests. They should pass too, but if they don't, it might not even be a problem. Low priority isn't very common and is often applied to experimental or preview features for special customers. So now it's time to assign a priority to each test that is in scope. I interview product owners to find out the priority for each test or feature. I also bring in my own belief system: authentication, forced browsing, tenant isolation. All this is non-negotiable for me and makes for critical tests. And that's how I build a testing strategy. I gather information, I segment the features and operations, I determine what's in scope, and I prioritize everything. Then I'm ready to test. Do you follow a similar process? Do you do something completely different? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like so that it gets recommended to more people. That's it for today. I see you in the next one. Bye.